I want our government to be as small and lean as it needs to be. I don't think our council should be in the business of running a ferry. That issue's been dispensed with. We shouldn't be in the business of running a sewerage scheme because it's a historical anachronism.
Yeah.
Council shouldn't be in the business of running childcare centres, and we don't. We own the land on a lot of what our childcare centres operate on, but we lease them out for peppercorn rents or below commercial rents, and we let other operators manage the childcare centres.
And that's a whole different kettle of fish.
I know,
it should be state government regulated.
And do so hoping that they provide value to the broader community.
Yep.
Because if they're enjoying the privilege of running a preschool on council land, we want them to be providing value to the community.
Yeah, and like childcare, you've almost. That's another, because Kate, my wife, has worked in childcare for such a long period of time. I understand a lot of it, and I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole because it gets us away from it. Because I believe that the childcare should be a lot more regulated, because that's the start. Like you're an educator as well. That's the start of a child's education and social interaction and learning, and you're shaping them to go into the next stage, which is primary school, which then gets them on.
You're quite right in the sense that there's a curriculum and a syllabus and a whole heap of rules that I have to follow as a high school teacher here locally. But preschool, pre-K education is just as important, and it's not regulated in terms of its curriculum. There are no academic outcomes because these are tiny little kids.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I can tell you that there's a distinct advantage in having a young person coming into kindergarten knowing their letters and numbers and knowing the rudiments of things, because it helps to scaffold, as we say as teachers, to build on
the next
those skills.
Yeah.
And, again, that's well beyond my responsibilities as a counsellor.
As a counsellor, yeah, I know.
I'm now wearing my teacher hat, and I want preschools to do well, but my point is that there are 9 different childcare centres in the Hawkesbury that operate off council land, and a bunch of private ones that are for-profit, run as businesses, and there are similarities, but also some specific differences. And I want to ensure that where something runs off council land is that it's low cost, and that those childcare operators aren't hiving away money and sticking it into a barrel and then crying poor when council comes back to them and says, well, this needs a bit of a revamp. If you're just going to make a profit that you can't spend because you're a not-for-profit operator, and then stow that money in a hollow log, then we're just going to end up charging you a more commercial rent for you to do what you do, because, again, council's overall financial position is something that has to be considered, and it isn't a charity.
And is that also part of that, like with the council idea? The idea is that because the council charges such a peppercorn rent, that the childcare should be cheaper?
That's, okay, that would be...
Because that overhead's lower.
That would be my desire. Whether that's actually articulated in policy, I'd have to get back to you. But what I do know is that some operators, are solvent in the sense that they've got an account with an accumulating balance that could be 6 figures or more, and they don't spend it because they kind of can't, because they're a not-for-profit operator.
Yeah.
So if we want to redevelop and improve a site, they expect us to do that, whereas, they've been accumulating profit.
So they could actually pay for the upgrade of the site because they can't spend it, which they should invest into.
I won't say more about that because it's a thorny issue, and the childcare community are very antsy. And all I can say is that our council staff do a really, really good job of negotiating and trying to find a middle path through these issues so that everybody is treated fairly.
Yeah, that's and that's what the idea of government is supposed to be.